Hi everyone, and welcome to class tonight. I am Jennifer Tarle. I am the owner of Tarle Speech and Language Services, and tonight we are going to be talking about a hot topic that a lot of people have requested, and that is word stress in American English. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. All right, so tonight, as I said, we are going to talk about word stress, and it's just going to be a general introduction to word stress, and I'm going to give you some quick tips. So let's go ahead and get started. So there are, I think of speech clarity as having three different components. Number one are the sounds. And those are just the basic consonants and vowels. That's the teeny tiniest part of the word. So that's a sound like p, or maybe a vowel sound like oi or a or ow. So those are the sounds. Those are the smallest, tiniest bits of the word. Next, we move into the word. And at the word level, we have something called syllable stress. And syllable stress is a big term that I'm going to use, and I'm even going to use that at times to talk about two words when we put those together into compound nouns or phrasal verbs. And the reason I kind of link this all together is because it's a little bit easier to remember when you think of this as one big concept instead of learning little teeny tiny pieces of each. And then lastly, we have the components of the phrase and sentences, which we will be getting into next month. So mark your calendars for the beginning of June. And at that point, I'm going to be talking about intonation. So that is the rhythm of the overarching subject that you're trying to present in your sentence. And that gets into content words versus function words versus focus words. So that will be next month. So go ahead and make sure you mark your calendar for that. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube just to make sure you don't miss anything, or check out the website as well for updates, which is www.Tarle Speech, and you can see how Tarle is spelled down here at the bottom. Tarle Speech, which is all one word, .com. Okay, so let's get into the next part of the presentation, which we are going to talk about syllables. Okay, so when we talk about syllables, these are the beats of a word. So my name, Jennifer, has 3 beats. Jennifer. There are 3 beats in that word, so that's 3 syllables. There are different syllable shapes that we have that make up words. I think this is really important. This would lead to maybe mistakes when you're speaking English, because you might not say a consonant sound at the end of your words or at the end of a syllable, because you don't do that in your language. So it's important to think about syllable shapes, which would be consonant, vowel, consonant, in words like pen, pack, men. Again, always remember we are talking about sounds, not spelling. So don't let the spelling trip you up, thinking that there are maybe 4 sounds in the word pack. And let me share my screen so you can see this. There aren't 4 sounds in the word pack, P-A-C-K. There are only 3 sounds, P, A, K. And there are 3 sounds in pen, P, E, N, and 3 sounds in men, N, E, N. We also have the syllable shape, consonant, vowel, and that would be me, my, see. And vowel consonant, up, at, on, and just a vowel, I, U, and O. And again, this is sounds, not spelling. So don't let this spelling confuse you. Syllables can stand alone or be combined into words. My name is a perfect example. If you use the short version of my name, Jen, that has one beat or one syllable. And you can see here, the syllable shape is consonant, vowel, consonant. And so it's and Jen. That's one way to say my name. Another nickname for Jennifer is Jenny. And that would be Jenny, Jenny. So it's J-E, Je. So that's a consonant, vowel, syllable shape. And then we end with another consonant, vowel, syllable shape, Ni. Now, I use two E's here just to represent the long E sound, but we really only say one vowel sound here. And then the last example is my full name, Jennifer. And Jennifer has 3 beats or 3 syllables, and there are 3 different syllable shapes. So the first syllable shape is consonant, vowel, consonant, Jen. The middle syllable is just a vowel, Again, this is just the way that I wrote it, so you can understand that that's a short And then the last syllable is fur, which is consonant, and is actually considered a vowel. So that's a consonant vowel combination here. So again, we have Jen, which is 1 beat. And let me actually stop my screen sharing so that you can see my mouth for this. We have Jen, that's 1 beat. Jenny, that's 2 beats. And Jennifer, that's 3 beats. So what we're going to get into now is that the syllables in English have different lengths. So listen to these 3 different examples again so you can kind of prime your ears for this. We have Jen, Jenny, Jennifer. Jen, Jenny, Jennifer. Each of those syllables has a different beat. So really pay attention to that. If you're trying to improve your English, try to imitate the length of the syllables, and that is going to really help you a lot. So there are 2 different types of syllable timing that we are going to talk about tonight. And let me show you the presentation again so you can follow along. We have a syllable timed language where every syllable has the same length. These are languages like French, Spanish, Cantonese, and Italian. So every syllable will have the same length. So someone who speaks one of these languages may call me Jennifer. Every length is the same. Every syllable has the same amount of time allotted to it. In a stress-timed language, which is English, each syllable in a word has a different length. And here is a really great tip. Length is related to vowel length and reductions of the vowel. So it's related to vowel length and reductions of the vowel. We see this in languages like English, Russian, and Portuguese. But of course, we're talking about American English. So those are the examples that I'm going to be presenting to you today. So you can see the difference. Let me use a syllable timed to say my name, Jennifer, as opposed to a stress timed, Jennifer. So you can hear that first vowel in Jen is nice and long. The middle vowel is just super short and quick. And then the last vowel in the is kind of medium. Okay, so let's move on to the next page. So the big question is, how do you do this? How do you add stress? And this is actually very difficult for a lot of my clients. So I try to make things as simple as possible, and I have a few easy steps for you. So think about it this way. Stressed syllables have 3 features. They are louder, they are longer, and they are higher in pitch. So stressed syllables are louder, longer, and higher. Unstressed syllables then are the exact opposite. They are softer, shorter, and lower. So those are three things. So again, louder, longer, and higher, softer, shorter, and lower. The biggest mistake I probably see with people trying to stress syllables is that they only use the pitch and they make their voice go really high up here, but then the length of the vowel is the same and the volume is the same. So there's only one marker to indicate out of all three that you're actually trying to stress that syllable. So remember, use all three. Let me go ahead and show you this page in case you're a visual learner. So again, stressed syllables are louder, longer, and higher, and unstressed are softer, shorter, and lower. Keep in mind, there is a stressed syllable in every word. So that's easy to remember. You have to have one stressed syllable in every word. So one syllable in every word will be louder, longer, and higher. And focus on the vowels to make that syllable longer. So in English, that's why I think it's important to really work on your vowels. If you learn your vowels in English and you learn to vary those, make the long A's nice and long, as in the word play, that's nice and long. And then you need to make the vowel maybe in half, nice and short, which that's a short vowel. And then we'll get into something in a little bit talking about words and which ones to stress. And then for the unstressed, make sure you shorten the vowels. Again, I'm going to use my name as an example because it's such a great one. Jen is the stressed syllable in that word. So it's loud, long, and high, and that is the longest vowel in my name. The unstressed syllable is the It's one vowel, it's very short, it's very soft, and it's lower. So Jennifer. So again, make sure to use all three to mark your stress and don't just rely on pitch. Okay, so what are some tips for word stress? I know that's what everyone is waiting for. So let's go ahead and look at these. Okay, so this is the part where you get to practice. So get ready, get a drink of water if you need it, and just get ready to practice along with me. So in two-syllable words, that's what we're going to start talking about. We have many two-syllable words in English, and this is a great strategy to learn, and this is a great rule to learn, because this is going to help you differentiate those words that are spelled the same, but pronounced differently, whether they're a noun or a verb. It also works for other things, but that's a nice one, a rule of thumb. This rule would impact the words record and record. Spelled the same, record is the noun, record is the verb. How do you make those words different? That's what we're going to learn right here. So let me pull this up and show you. Okay, sorry about that, a little slow. Okay, so in two-syllable words, the first syllable is typically stressed in nouns and adjectives. As I tell all of my clients, the only rule that is super consistent in English is that there is always an exception to every rule. So again, these are really broad general rules that you should keep in mind. This would be the example in record, produce, object, present. So why don't you try those? Record, produce, object, present. Now the exact opposite is true in verbs. The second syllable is stressed. Record, produce, object, present. So let's try those. Record, produce, object, present. Right, and let's do some practice. Record, record. I will record your score in the official record. I will record your score in the official record. Give that a try. Produce, produce. The grocery store produces a profit from produce sales. The grocery store produces a profit from produce sales. Give it a try. Object, object. The lawyer will object to that object as evidence. The lawyer will object to that object as evidence. Give that a try. Present, present. My father will present the present at the party. My father will present the present at the party. Give that a try. Excellent. And as you can see, it even gets confusing for me, a native English speaker, and I teach this because you're seeing the exact same word. So sometimes you do have to stop and think about it, but that's okay. It gets easier as you go. Okay, so now that we know that in nouns, typically the first syllable is stressed, and in verbs, typically the second syllable is stressed. So that same rule will apply to compound nouns and phrasal verbs. So what those are, compound nouns are when we put two words together, two nouns together that make a new word. You could also use adjectives as well. So an example that's really simple and easy, the word white, house. If I'm talking about a white house, those words have the same stress and the same importance. But if I'm talking about where the president lives, I would say the White House, the White House. So my first word is going to be stressed and my second word will be unstressed. That is going to indicate that that is a new word and that you're combining that together to have a new meaning. And you're going to use something in that called linking, which we get into a little bit more in next month's class. So again, tune in for that in June. And that's going to help because we do not put a break between those words. And if we look at this rule again, when you are using verbs, if we make phrasal verbs, which we use a ton of these in English, and these are usually very confusing to ESL learners. If you use the word come back, then you are going to stress the second word. So if you want someone to come back, those will be the same. But if someone has a comeback, then that second word is stressed because that's making a new word with a slightly different meaning. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay. So again, here's a quick tip for you. And again, we get into this more in the next class. Link the word combinations together into one word. That means eliminate the pause between the words. So again, first word is stressed in compound nouns. White house, White House. Give that a try. Cup, cake, cupcake. Security, badge, security badge. And again, for the second word is stressed in phrasal verbs, which goes with our last rule about two-syllable words. Come back, come back. Look out, look out. Take out, take out. And compound adjectives are also the same. The second word is stressed. Bright red, bright red. Light blue, light blue. Old fashioned, old fashioned. So let's give it a try. Repeat after me. Let's listen first. I love cupcakes. I love cupcakes. Give it a try. Take out your pencils. Take out your pencils. The light blue dress is pretty. The light blue dress is pretty. And try those on your own. Okay. Let me turn down to the next page here. Okay. Then we get into this whole world of prefixes and suffixes. What do we do with all of those? There are so many of those. Adding a prefix or a suffix does change the tempo of the word because we're trying to say a word that is a lot longer in the same amount of time. So a great example would be happy, unhappy, unhappily. Took me the exact same amount of time to say each of those words. So I had to make certain parts of those words a little bit shorter. So again, adding a prefix and a suffix will change the beat of the word or the tempo of the beats in the word. And each syllable requires a different length. Typically, prefixes are not stressed. And typically, suffixes are not stressed. So prefixes we add before a word and suffixes we add at the end of a word. So again, the good news is, as a general rule, we don't stress these prefixes and suffixes. So some examples: delete, retract, disarm, mistake. So we're actually stressing, if you think about it, the most important part of that word, which is the root word. Same goes for the suffixes. That would be like adding an ed to a word, heated. We're not changing the stress of that first part of the word. The second part of the word just isn't very stressed. There are a couple of rules. You stress the syllable before the suffix in words ending in ik, shun, or us. Graphic, discussion, conscious. And you're going to stress the syllable to before the suffix in words ending in c, t, phi, g, all, eyes, and ate. Sanity, critical, advertise, communicate. So let's take a look at these and just listen so that you can hear the differences between the beats of these words and the overall tempo. So I'm going to encourage you just to listen. Happy, unhappy, unhappily. Happy, unhappy, unhappily. Interest, disinterest, disinterested. Interest, disinterest, disinterested. This next one blows everyone's mind, so I'm not going to show you the word until I say it. Thermo, thermometer. Thermo, thermometer. Let me show you that one real quick. Thermo is the root word, but when we add these extra pieces to it, it's thermometer, not thermometer, thermometer. So the whole beat really, really changes on that one. So that's a great example. Form, reform, reformation. Form, reform, reformation. So let's try this one. Just listen. Communication, communicate, community. Let's do number one. Communication, communicate, community. And now the sentence. Her ability to communicate helped the community improve neighbor communication. Her ability to communicate helped the community improve neighbor communication. Give that a try. Excellent. Okay, this is another tough rule for my clients, is that we have this vowel called the schwa. It's the little upside down E that you see in the dictionary. Essentially, that is a very relaxed vowel. It's very unstressed. It's very short, and your mouth doesn't do a whole lot. It's the sound. You can see it's just very neutral. This is the short, relaxed vowel that allows us to make a syllable extremely short. So you see, or you should hear rather, this vowel in longer words. As the words get longer and have more syllables, there is a much higher chance that you're going to have this schwa syllable in a word. My name is another great example, Jennifer. It has a schwa syllable, that middle beat. So my name is not Jenny with a long E, fur. It's Jennifer, Jennifer, Jennifer. There's that schwa syllable in there. So really listen for that. This is a great exercise to do after class tonight or even into next week. Really listen for that schwa syllable. You will be shocked how many words have the schwa in it in English, and that's really going to help your overall clarity and just your naturalness in your speaking. So let me pull this up so you can follow along with me. So again, we talked about it occurs in an unstressed syllable in multi-syllable words. And then again, this will get into next session's class in June. It also occurs in an unstressed function word in sentences. That's why a lot of my clients come to the US for the first time and they say, people talk so quickly. It's actually that they're adding more schwas. So they're just making some syllables shorter. So an example, celebrate, to the store. I don't say to the store. I link everything to the store. And to and the have the schwa syllable in them. So some tips. Relax your mouth. Keep your tongue relaxed in the middle of your mouth. Make the sound short. Very, very short. And listen for this sound. This drives my clients crazy. It can be spelled with an A, E, I, O, U, or Y. Yes, it can be spelled with any vowel, which is very confusing. I would say most of my clients misread the letter I that's in the middle of a word as an E instead of an So that's a good tip to kind of think about. If you see that letter I and you want to say E, listen really hard if that word is super long, because I bet you there's a schwa in the middle. So let's give this a try. Amazing, happily, Jennifer, California. Amazing. Happily. Jennifer. California. Jennifer happily agreed to go on a trip to California. Jennifer happily agreed to go on a trip to California. She always wanted to see the amazing scenery of Yosemite National Park. She always wanted to see the amazing scenery of Yosemite National Park. Now try it all together. Jennifer happily agreed to go on a trip to California. She always wanted to see the amazing scenery of Yosemite National Park. Excellent. Okay, so those are some really quick tips to get you started with syllables. So remember, syllables in words in English have different lengths based on the length of the word and based on their vowel length and the length of the syllable. If that syllable is a little bit louder and if that syllable has a little bit of a higher pitch. So if you have that really stressed syllable, you have to go to the opposite end of the spectrum and make something softer and lower and quicker with a shorter vowel. So those are the good quick tips for you to keep in mind. I will post the handouts to my website shortly after class. This class will be posted as a recorded session on YouTube and on my website. So if you liked it, please tell a friend about us. You can find out more information about Tarle Speech at www.tarlespeech.com. That's also where we will have handouts and some additional videos. And stay tuned. I've gotten a lot of complaints about my website. I agree it's not the easiest to use, and I'm in the process of fixing that, and there will be a new website coming out in June. So I'm really excited about that. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn on my company page, YouTube, iTunes, and Google+. I love to hear your comments and questions. I do get back to you, everyone. So please keep asking. And thank you so much for all of your support and for watching my videos and for tuning in tonight. So thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend and keep up the good work with your English training. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.